What they do, baby? English Friday, baby. Been a long time no see. But we have a pretty good one today because my main man, my brother, Dale Weise, former Montreal Canadiens superstar, because he was a superstar. Man, you saw Dale Weise walking in the street. You're like, man, that's my dude, Dale Weise. Everybody knew Dale Weise, superstar. My man, Dale Weise, is on the pod today, and we talk about a lot of stuff. We talk about the code of hockey. We talk about what happened to Tavares. We talk about his ex-teammates, especially one PK Subban. We talk about a lot of stuff with my dude, Dale Weise, who's I don't know if it's transitioning to a broadcasting career. He would be amazing as a broadcaster. I'm just saying that right here on the pod. It would be amazing. So that was on the pod. A lot of Montreal Canadiens talk too. We recorded that a week ago. So after game one, if I don't mistake, after game one, we recorded this with Dale. So enjoy the talk. If you want to help the podcast, zonekr.ca, you just buy your gear and gear sans restriction, and to make sure that this pod lives on forever, and follow us on Instagram at sans restriction. Now, let's all go listen to the talk with superstar Dale Weise, baby. So I'm here with my guy, DW. I remember back in the days he was playing with the Bleu Blanc Rouge and he scored that goal. And I said, Dale Weise, saving our lives. I remember the commentateur haïtien and I went crazy. My man, Dale Weise, how you doing, brother?
Hey, I'm great, man. That's a great call. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Yo, it's playoff time out here. So you know how it is in Montreal when it's playoff time, eh?
Oh, there's nothing better, man. I was watching last night. I was so pumped. I could tell from warm-up that Pricey was dialed in. He was unbelievable last night. What a game.
So because Montreal, we are, como se dice, we are a bit bipolar, okay? The fans, we are bipolar with our team. So you watched the warm-up and you knew Price was, because I was watching the game and I was like, man, I hope the brother's ready.
Man, I just playing with him so much. I just know what he's like. I don't know. You could just see little tendencies. Not that, you can tell when he's not going to have a good night, but man, I saw the clip the day before. He breaks his stick in practice. I could see him in warm-up. He was just dialed in. And then, first shot of the game, cross ice, he slides over, makes a big save. I could just tell he was dialed in.
Okay, so are you like invested when you watch the game? Like you are playing the game, or now it's going down a bit? Are you still pumped every time you watch a game?
Oh man, I'm going crazy. Like, it's worse now as a fan. I don't know why. Like, I know, times when I'd be scratched or something, I'd be watching, it would be tough. But like, this is almost worse now. Like, I can't have any effect. I'm not in the game. At least when you play, you feel like, I don't know, you can go out there and do something about it. When you're a fan, you're just sitting there, and it's just a roller coaster of emotion. Especially last night, 1-1 down the stretch. I liked the way they were playing, and then when Paulie scores that goal, I went. Man, I went crazy. My kids were sleeping, and I think I woke them up.
I call him Le Baron de Montréal, and this guy is the unsung hero. The dude went to the waivers, then came back, then went back to the waivers. Every time they needed to play some yo-yo, they sent the brother back to the waivers, and then
man.
He went Bobby Orr on Toronto. So talk to me about Paul.
Yeah, man, you hit the nail on the head there. Like, what a tough year for a guy to go on waivers, come back, be scratched, go on waivers. Like, I know what it's like. It's terrible. It's a terrible feeling. And it's almost like, when you go on waivers, nobody in the room wants to say anything to you. They just kind of look at you like, they feel bad for you. And it's a terrible when people look at you and they feel bad for you. I don't know. For me, I hated it when that happened. So I know what he went through. And, every time he came back in, he scored or he played really well. So you got to be so happy for the guy. I was so pumped, and you could just tell, obviously a huge goal last night, but the whole team was so pumped for him. He's such a good guy. He's such a good person. I was so happy for him.
Like for real is one of the guys, and I haven't met you when you were playing with the team, but I can say that you're one of the good guys because I heard a lot of good things from your teammates about you. But Paul met Paul the first time he went to a signing thing, and I had to do an interview with him. And so the guys pull up with his big truck, but he's small, like tiny Paul out of the big truck, and he was so nice to everyone. I was like, yo, dude needs to be the mayor of the city or what?
Man, he's such a good guy. He's just such a good person. He drives the big SUV. He's got the big family, and
Yeah.
he's got a big heart, man. He plays so gritty for a guy that's so small. He's not afraid of anybody, man. I have so much respect for that guy.
Okay, so during the game, everybody saw what happened with Tavares, and then everybody flipped. I watched Twitter. I was actually live during the game doing something for the Canadians, and so when I watched this, then I went on my Twitter timeline, and people got so mad because Foligno dropped the glove to defend his captain, even though it was accidentally. Now you had to drop them gloves, and I spoke to a lot of players this morning, and they were like, you have to do it. You have to do it. What is your stance on that particular thing that we saw?
Yeah, I didn't feel good watching it, to be honest with you. I don't know. Maybe I was a little shook from the Tavares thing, just the way he went off, and you
Mm,
saw when he was trying to get up, and the trainer's holding him, and he couldn't even hold himself up, and his eyes were like rolling back in his head. That was just a really scary situation, and then it was eerie because it was so silent. I was sitting there with my wife, and I was like, I've never seen a live broadcast so silent. The announcers didn't know what
yeah.
to say. Nobody was saying anything. There's no fans, so there's no background noise. It was just really eerie. And then you see Foligno come out, and I fought Foligno a few times. He's an honest guy, and I was wondering what the conversation was because to me, everybody could see it wasn't intentional. It was an accident. Like there's no way he could have avoided them. So I didn't feel good about it. But it's Perry and Foligno. They've been around a long time. They understand. Let's just have the fight now, and nobody will talk about it, and it's over, and it doesn't continue to go on. I know as a guy that's thrown a couple borderline hits, or you did something that, I hit Taylor Hall one time, earlier in my career in Vancouver, and I knew I was getting suspended by the end of the game, but I fought a guy the next shift because you just want to get it over with. So I think when you hear the comments after the game where Foligno was like, you know what, I knew it wasn't intentional, but our captain's laying on the ice, so I had to defend him. So I understand it from both sides, but I don't know. It was maybe the only fight I've ever watched that I really just didn't feel good about.
That's crazy because you say, man, I hit the guy and then I know I'm gonna fight. I mean, like this is crazy. On the other side of the ring, this is not no Jake Paul over there. This is real people fighting over there. Like what? So so you got to defend yourself. So are you like I gotta fight for my life because the other guy he ain't fighting me because he wants the momentum shift. He's fighting me because he wants to put me down.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And he's coming out. Nick Foligno's a tough guy, and Perry held his own. I thought he did
Yeah,
great, and it's just a weird situation. Anytime you get in a bare knuckle fight, something bad can happen. So
yeah.
you just would have hated for something to happen there. Both guys dusted it off and came back, and everything kind of progressed from there. So like I said, man, I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but I understand it for sure.
Would you fight one of them Paul brothers? Would you?
Yeah, I would for sure.
Not for the money, not for the money, but can you hang with one of those guys? Because I mean, people who went in against them, they didn't came out well after.
Yeah, it's interesting, man. I didn't really watch a lot of the first ones, and I don't follow it a lot. But after the Nate Robinson, obviously that blew up, and I watched it, and I don't know if Nate Robinson's ever been in a fight in his life, and then um, and then you watch the last fight, which was crazy to me because I followed it extensively, and I was watching a lot of the build up and everything, and what was his name? Ben Askren, was that his name?
Yeah, Ben Askren,
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, the way he showed up to the weigh-in and stuff it's just embarrassing to me. Like, I don't know what this guy was doing. I understand he thought he was he fought in the UFC and did well, but man, I just can't believe the shape he showed up in. Before the game, before the fight, sorry, they had the interview with him, and it was like it's just like he didn't give a shit. You could see he there was no fire in him. And then you go
Yeah.
into Jake Paul's locker room. He's got his team around him. Guy's warming up 4 hours before the fight. You could see he took it serious. So, um, I've done a ton of boxing myself, and boxing is way different from hockey fighting. So I would feel very comfortable getting in the ring with those guys.
Well, that was what I was going to ask you, because I'm doing a little boxing myself right now. I'm training with in Montreal in the Locomotive gym, and I got those uppercut and those jab going. I got them going. But when
Yeah,
you
good man.
good man, but when you go on in a hockey fight, you gotta pull people, you gotta hang around, you gotta. What's more difficult, being in a boxing ring with everything that can come up to you, or being in a hockey fight?
Yeah, so they're I don't know which is more difficult. You look at hockey; it's hockey fighting is extremely tough, and you see the fans that sit in the crowd and they crush beers and they think they could fight every guy on the ice when they'd get absolutely shit pumped by any guy on the ice. But to me, like you're on a blade that's 2 millimeters trying to balance and fight a guy, so it's way more technique on how to grab and how to defend yourself in hockey fights. And then you're getting hit with bare knuckles, which is a lot different than getting hit with a glove. I've been hit with a glove a lot, and it's just a different feeling. So, and then you go to boxing off ice. Not to take anything away from it, there's more power in boxing. Your feet are planted. You have your base. You're a lot stronger. There's a lot more technique in boxing than hockey fighting, but it's two different things. So for me, technique wise, it's harder to fight because you're on these little tiny blades as opposed to fighting on your feet.
Yeah, and yeah, I can feel you. And them pads, those pads are not for the rookies, eh? It hurts. The pads hurts. My hands were sore.
Yeah, you got to get the wraps on perfectly, man. Take care of those hands.
Oh, damn stupid wraps. Question, because I see my jersey collection right now, and my good friend P.O. Joseph from Pittsburgh just sent me one, and I'm like, I can't wait to put it in. Do you keep all your jerseys?
Crazy. So people ask me that all the time. I never really collected. I don't know. I didn't collect them. Like normally at the end of every season, the team will give you one, and I the only team that didn't give me one was the New York Rangers, which is crazy to me. They're the richest team in the league. They're worth $1 billion. Like I played, my first NHL game with them. They didn't even give me a jersey, which I thought was pretty cheap. So I thought that was crazy. But other teams, at the end of the year, they give you a jersey. And probably about 3-4 years ago, I framed a bunch of them and put them up in my house. So I got each team's jersey framed and got them in a nice spot. Yeah.
Okay, because I mean, you played a lot of hockey in the National Hockey League. I just wanted people to realize. I mean, you over 500 game, over 50 goal, 70 assists, 125 points, and 355 penalty minutes. You were more than just beating people up. You could play hockey, and I remember when you scored that goal against Ottawa and Montreal. This is for me. It was the biggest highlight of your career. You scored that goal against Ottawa. Did you know you would become a cult hero like you are right now?
No, I had no idea. So, like you said, obviously when I started my career in Vancouver, I had to fight. I had to play on the fourth line. I had to do a lot of things I didn't want to do just to get my foot in the door. And that's, then it was something after, 2-3 years of doing it in Vancouver that I thought I was going to have to do my whole career. Wow. And then finally, I come to Montreal, and that first playoff run, we go to the conference final. I scored some big goals. I scored the overtime one against Tampa in the playoffs. So I scored some big goals early. And, I would walk outside and people were recognizing me for the first time, and then everybody was honking the horn and yelling during that playoff run if I was outside somewhere. So it was just such a cool feeling for me. That's when I fell in love with Montreal. And then, the following 2 years, I continued to get better as a player. I got a lot more opportunity to show that I could be a player. Yeah. And man, I had the best time of my life in Montreal. I love the fans, the people there, man. I can't say enough good things about my time there. It was the time I spent there was the highlight of my career for sure.
Okay, so you played in Montreal, and then you got 14 goals in the National Hockey League is a lot. 14 goals in 56 games. Were you walking in the locker room like, man, I'm gonna win that Rockets with Shirt trophy, man. I'm here. I'm the guy now.
Man, you know what? I always knew in my mind that I could probably 20 was kind of my goal for me in those years. Coming to that year at least, I got off to a really good start, and I had 14 goals before I got traded in I don't know how many games it was. Like you said, 56. I don't know if was it 56 with Montreal, or is that my whole season?
56 in Montreal.
Yeah, man. So if I would have stayed there, I would have had 20 that year for sure. And then I was feeling really good about the year, and then all of a sudden I got traded to Chicago, and then it was kind of like here I go again. I'm in and out of the lineup, playing on the fourth
Yeah.
line, playing 5 minutes, and it's just it was really deflating, man. Because that year I honestly yeah, I would have been over 20 for sure.
But did you feel like they were going to trade you, or you were like, man, I'm playing too good for them. They ain't touch. They ain't putting me nowhere.
Yeah, man, it was a weird situation because I loved it. I wanted to be there, and I kept trying to get a contract done, and they just never wanted to offer me anything. And Burrs kept letting it go on, and never wanted to offer me a deal, which was frustrating, man. I put my heart and soul into that team and that city. I didn't want to leave. I wasn't asking for a ton of money. I ended up signing for more than I would have taken in Montreal too. So it was frustrating. And then when it came down to the last couple of days, we were getting closer to the deadline. I kind of had a feeling it was going to happen, and then it happened, man. That was crushing for me.
Okay, so now I see you're doing a lot of podcasting, and you're doing a lot of radio and a lot of everything, a lot of media, and you're very good at it. You have I work in media, and I work with some of the people I've worked with in my life. They're not as good as you, so you're gonna have a great future in media, and 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 you play for the Canadians for a long, long time, and I can see that you care about them. Are you ready to whoop their ass when they need it? Or man, I know too many guys in that team. I can't go there right now.
Oh man, yeah, I love too many guys. I love Montreal, man. I will always be a fan of the Montreal Canadiens. I was the biggest Canadiens fan growing up. Me and my dad, my whole family loved the team. And then once you play for the Montreal Canadiens, you're a Montreal Canadian forever. So that's the way I always see it.
Okay, okay, okay. But you can go in when they don't play good. You gotta dive in. You gotta be Alexandre Paty and boom and let them know. Because I remember I'm a huge Montreal Canadian fan. I always say that, but when they don't play good, I gotta mention it. Yeah, you can make sure that this pod lives on forever, forever, ever, forever, ever by buying a toque, hat, t-shirt, hoodie, sans restriction on the zonecarrière.ca, zonecarrière.ca, sans restriction. Go buy that stuff now. Now, let's go back to Dale, superstar Dale Weise. Now, got to talk about a few players that you played with the Montreal Canadiens, because then that team was loaded. Is it the year Alex Kovalev was here with you guys?
No, I didn't get a chance to play with him. I missed him by just a couple years.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, Andrei Markov. I was Andrei who should get his jersey retired in Montreal. I said it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree with you, man. He is awesome. Awesome guy, unbelievable player for the Montreal Canadiens. I was really disappointed the way it worked out, where he couldn't finish his career there and ended up going to Russia. For whatever reason, Burns didn't feel his value was worth it, whatever it was. But he was just such a good guy. He was so funny. People never got a chance to really see the funny personality. He was always kind of serious from what everyone else could see on the outside. But a really great guy, ultimate professional, man. I saw I think he just got a coach he just got a job as the assistant coach somewhere in the KHL, SKA or something.
Yeah,
All
that's cool.
all the teams, yeah, they all kind of make the same team names over there. So I don't know which one it is, but I was happy for him to see that.
I don't know if they did that to you, but I remember. So I was going in the locker room a few times. Now I was there 2, 3, 4 times, and then Markov was with Yemen, and they were always talking together, and like I felt that I don't know if it was me, but I felt that every time I was there, they were speaking Russian. I was like, man, they don't want me to understand what they're saying. So I learned that one sentence in Russian. I learned "Niet понимаю по-русски," which means I don't understand Russian. And those faces worth $1 million when I said that next to them. Did Was it like that in the Canadian? Was it like the Russian be with the Russians, Quebecers with the Quebecers, and then PK somewhere?
Oh, it's funny you say that, man. You know what? They were obviously very close. They played together there for a long, long time, and Russian guys kind of like to stay together and speak their own language, which is fine. I remember the year I got traded, 2016, Manny Malhotra came to the team and kind of made a rule that when we're in the locker room together, everybody speak English, nobody speak your languages, and then when if you're in the lounge or in the gym, you can speak your language or whatever. But we're in the locker room, we're going to speak English. So that was a cool thing. But I know Marky and Emmy were very, very close.
Talk to me about Danny Briere, because this dude is the biggest overachiever in the history of the national, except Martin St. Louis, of the National Hockey League. Talk to me about Danny B.
Yeah, man, I have so much respect for that guy. It was cool for me because I was a fan watching Danny B, his Buffalo days, and he was unbelievable. And then getting a chance to play with him was so cool for me. He was one of those guys when I got traded to Montreal the first time where I was kind of starstruck to be around him. I was such a big fan of him. Yeah. And he was such the most unassuming guy. He was so nice to talk to. He was just soft spoken. He was so happy to help. It was just so cool. And then I got a chance to play with him in the playoffs. And just some of his little insights that he gave me in the short time that we played on that playoff run together was something that I carried with me for the rest of my career. And then they played dividends for sure.
Okay, so now you need to talk to me about that dude. I mean 76. Because I've heard a lot of things. I've spoke with a lot of his teammates, ex-teammates on the podcast. We did over 115 podcasts. So we talked to a lot of people that played with PK, and we've heard everything. Now, how was it for you?
I loved PK. I made no fans or buts about that. I love the guy. We're still extremely close. We talk almost every day, text or something on Instagram or something. I don't know what it was about our friendship. We just kind of saw eye to eye right away. I think just on our outlook on life, both of us, we're just kind of very happy guys every day. We don't let a lot of stuff bring us down. We both loved coming to the rink, being around the guys, getting people pumped up. We just hit it off right away. I absolutely loved playing with him. I was crushed when I had to leave Montreal, but I was crushed because I had to leave him too. Because, like I said, we were best friends when we played together, and it was so much fun playing with him. And then I've spent every day since then defending him and trying to have his back, because people have the wrong conception about how he was as a teammate and in the dressing room, because I loved him and I have nothing but the utmost respect for that guy.
It's crazy, eh? It's like it's black or white. There's no gray area with this guy. Either you love him or either you hate him. Even with the fans, I remember I did that video when he got traded, and I mean, we did like crush the internet with it, and then people in the comments, like, they were fighting in the comments about that guy. Why was he so polarizing?
Yeah, man, plenty of reasons. Plenty of reasons. He was an elite superstar on the back end for the years that he played there. You look at our 2014 run, he was the MVP of our team. And then obviously, Carey Price too. Those two guys were just unbelievable on the whole run. And every night they were incredible. And, for whatever reason, he just, you could call the race card, say what you want. I think people had a hard time seeing a guy like PK Subban having success, smiling, being happy all the time. People didn't like it. And for whatever reason, I don't understand it, because I loved him as a teammate. The guy wore his heart on his sleeve every night. He played his ass off. He played hard. And he was never a guy that wanted the spotlight. It came to him very easily because of how good he was and his type of personality. But he wasn't a guy that wouldn't be the first guy to say, man, Pricey had a good night today, or Patch was unreal, or Plucky was awesome. He was always looking to deflect it, but a lot of times media and fans made it about him.
I'm so happy because you said maybe it's the race car. And if I say that, they're going to be like, of course, Kev, you're going to say that. But if you say that, it's more powerful, because, I mean, it's not the type of things that, first of all, white hockey players would say at first. And then you said it like straight easy. So I respect you a lot for that.
Man, I don't know. Like, what else did he really do that people were always so, because he wore different suits? Like, I don't know. It never made sense to me. It never made sense to me. I just don't get it.
Okay, so you mentioned his name quickly, but Pacioretty, this dude was the captain. The dude was tall. How was Patch? How was it with you and Patch actually?
Yeah, me and Patch were really close. We both had young families at the same times. Our wives were really close. We got rides from each other. We lived close to each other in Broussard lots of the time. So we were really close. I loved him. He was awesome with me. Um, it was a tough time because he was pretty much the only superstar we had offensively,
Yeah.
and I think he took a lot of pressure. He put a lot of pressure on himself, but the city put a lot of pressure on him too. To be, I don't know what they wanted him to be, but you look at the career he's had since he left. He's so consistent. He's been incredible. He's still going, still scoring goals. At 33, and it doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. So I loved Patch. Again, another guy that I respected a ton, and when I got a chance to jump up and play with him a ton, I loved it. We had so much fun.
But did they do the brother wrong? Cause I remember watching Patch from outside, and I don't know the man, so I didn't know the guy, so I was like, man, does this guy care? Because he's so tall and the way he skates, and he looks like I don't know if he cares like I care, and it pissed me off. And then they traded him, and the way they traded, I was like, man, he didn't deserve it like this. So how did it think? What do you think about that?
Yeah, I agree. I think they kind of did him wrong. You look at the 2014 run and you go, well, he didn't score as much as he should have, or what people would have expected. But we didn't need him to score every game for us to win. He was a part of the team, and that's what made our team so strong in 2014. And he kind of took the burden of the offense on a lot of that. And then in 2016, when they played the Rangers again, they're like, well, you didn't play well in the playoffs. And I don't agree with it. And I think when you find guys that can score goals like that in the NHL, it's so hard to score goals. And Patch is a pure scorer.
Yeah.
And I just think you just don't let those guys go.
Yo, how was it the 2014 playoffs? Like, did y'all thought it was because the way I think is you're in, you're in. You play and you hope. But in 2014, did y'all think like I think we got this? I think we're bringing another cup in Montreal, a 25th cup.
Yeah, so I came there in February, and I was just trying to find my place on the team. So I didn't really know how good the team could be. Obviously being a fan, I followed them, but I'm not watching every game when I'm playing in Vancouver.
Of course.
It just doesn't work that way. So I didn't know how good the team could be, and then we get in the playoffs, we win game one, we win game two against Tampa, and we were the underdogs in that series too. But
Hmm.
when you go in and sweep that team, by games 3 and 4, we started to have a really good feeling in that locker room. Like, holy smokes, we can do something special here. Just the way our team played, everybody sits here and says, well, we had such a close team. And most of the guys are bullshitting. That team was actually really, really close. Everybody was playing for each other. There was no guy, trying to pad their stats so they could get a big contract at the end of the year. It was just really a team. And, it speaks volumes for the leaderships we had. Gianta, Georges,
Yeah.
it's a guy like Travis Moen, Danny Briere, a guy like Brandon Pruss, and myself, just bringing guys into the fight every night. We just had such a good mix of guys. And, man, and then you go on, and we were obviously huge underdogs against Boston. They were the President's Trophy winners that year. They had like 120 points or something.
Yeah.
And, we steal game one in overtime, and the series goes on. We end up winning game seven. And after that, you're like, wow, like, I honestly, at that point, was like, we're going to win the Stanley Cup. There's no team that could beat us. There's no way. I didn't care.
Wow.
I think it was New York and Pittsburgh were the other round. I was like, it doesn't matter what team we play there. We're beating both of them. And, then obviously Pricey gets hurt in game one, and that changed the whole outlook. But that was a really, really special group.
That group had some of the toughest guys in one team. I mean, you got Tenorti that can fight. Murray can punch somebody in the mouth. You can punch people in the mouth. Y'all had a Moen, Prust, Weaver could punch somebody. Bouillon could punch people in the mouth. Ryan White could punch people. Beaulieu, like in a bar fight. Y'all were good.
It was just a really good team, tough team where everybody stood up for each other. We weren't the biggest team, but we were physical. We finished everything. We were hard to play against. We pissed a lot of people off.
Yeah. So how was the Montreal nightlife? Because you played in Montreal, and we saw what's like what happened with Joe Drouin in Montreal and the medias and everything. But how is it to play here? Do you always eat for free everywhere? Do you have to have a bodyguard because you're getting mobbed by the fans? How is it to play here?
Man, I can honestly say I've paid for every meal that I've eaten in Montreal. Not because I wasn't offered. It's just kind of I just like to give back. I don't like taking free anything. So, but people treat you amazing. You don't get mobbed. People respect you. I have no problem people coming up to me. They want a picture or they want to talk. Like, I understand it. I was a fan too before I got in the league. So, it's awesome, man. Montreal fans are the greatest fans in the league. Like I said, they were so respectable. I had no issues ever at any place with anybody.
Okay, because it's not easy to play here. Okay, last few question. So if you have one more pickup game to play, you play one more. You got to pick a goalie, you got to pick 2 defensemen and 2 forwards to play with you. It's the last one, then you die. So you can pick whoever you want. You can pick Denzel Washington if you want to play with Denzel. Who you picking to play that last pickup game?
Am I trying to win or am I trying to have a good time?
That's you.
Well, Carey Price has got to be my goalie.
Okay.
That's a given.
You want to win. You want to win.
Yeah, I always want to win at anything I do, so I'm not gonna ice a bad lineup. On defense, I got my boy Subi.
Okay.
And then I'm going to throw Michael Del Zotto in there, one of my other good buddies that I absolutely love. Those and Michael Del Zotto and PK Subban, you're winning and you're having a real good time with those two.
That a lot of chirp on the ice, eh?
It would be amazing with those two. And up front, or I would go, let's go Presti and Danny Briere, 2 guys that really really helped me launch my career off, and guys that I love and respect, and those are 2 guys that I played with when I had the most fun playing hockey in my life. So that would be my squad.
I mean, you play with Daddy B, keep the stick on the ice, and you're about to score 20.
Hey, absolutely, man.
Okay, and last question, because that goal is legendary, and I know a lot of people's gonna listen to that podcast, and they're gonna go back on YouTube to watch that goal once again. So, if you could put a soundtrack on that one goal, one song, what would you put?
One song. Kevin Rudolph, I Made It.
Wow! You went crazy with that one, eh?
Wow. For sure, that one.
Wow. Hey, man, thank you so much for your time on the pod. And down the road, we got to do a part 2 because so many more questions. I didn't want to take too much of your time because you got a family and everything. But down the road, we got to do a part 2 and dive deeper in your career.
Man, I'm more than happy to do it, buddy. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was a great chat with my man Dale Weise. Great chat with my man Dale Weise. Go follow him on Instagram. Like I said, great future in broadcasting is ahead of this dude. I think he has a lot in the tank left. He can go. I would have taken this guy with the Canadian right now. I mean, how the hell Suzuki has the most body check in game 4? Now, I'm recording this ending. It's Thursday, 12/29. I haven't seen game 5 yet. But if the boys don't show up, you take Marc Bergevin, you send them on the boat, and we don't see him again. And I know people are like, yeah, but he made good moves. Those moves were supposed to be for the playoffs. Those guys were supposed to be playoff guys. And every year, we're like, well, yeah, it was supposed to be like this, but it was not like this. Man, sit your ass down. Brother been here, the dude been here for, I'm not gonna call him a brother. The dude been here since 2012. Never gave Carey Price a team. Carey Price been goaltending on his head. Never got a team. A real team, except 2014. And that was because Carey Price was going crazy. So you know what? Game 5 is in a couple of hours. I'm gonna have a good glass of Macallan, maybe 2 or 3. I'm gonna watch the game. And I'm gonna keep roasting these motherfuckers. When I say these motherfuckers, I talk about management. Management. Because these players, I mean, they're trying hard. Maybe Toronto is that good. We gotta remember Toronto is number 1. Maybe Toronto is that good. But still, we need consistency. Not only from the players, but especially from management. We got our third overall picks missing games. LT scratch. We got Galchenyuk coming back to the Bell Center like he owns the place and nobody's doing nothing about it. We're getting bullied on the ice. And nobody says nothing. So you know what? Let's watch game 5. And this Monday, next Monday, we have a pod in French. I might roast their ass if they lose that game. Because I want to be in the Bell Center for game 6. I want to be there. I want to cheer that team. I want to give them energy. Because they matter to me. They matter to me. So let's go. Game 5 tonight. Thank you, Bruno, partner of the pod. Thank you, Mathieu Butus, for the music. And now I'm about to record the podcast for next Monday with Elizabeth Mata. So let's go, baby. Thank you.